drive on Providence Road in Columbia, you'll have to go a little slower starting tomorrow. Good afternoon, I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Jim Rick. Thanks for joining us. The speed limit will drop from 55 to 50 between McDeaver Drive and Route K. KOMU8's Chris Green is live to tell us why the change is being made.
The speed limit decrease, which will start just south of here, came about after a study by MoDOT. That study looked at several aspects that contribute to road safety. That included past speed information, as well as the number of accidents, vehicles, pedestrians, and cyclists present. MoDOT senior traffic studies specialist said the number of vehicles is constantly rising in the area. He also says there was a high number of accidents.
We are having severe crashes. There were 2 fatal crashes and some of the civilian injury crashes in the 5-year period that we reviewed. So that's one of those things that should catch your eye for a 2-mile stretch of roadway. That's quite a few.
The Columbia City Council amended the city code to reflect the changes at its meeting last night. Schaefer says the speed decrease will lower travel times by about 15 seconds. Reporting live in Columbia, Chris Green, KOMU8 News.
3 teenagers are in custody after Governor-elect Eric Greitens' wife was robbed at gunpoint last night in St. Louis. Sheena Greitens was sitting in her car when one of the teens opened the door and demanded that she hand over her cell phone and laptop. This morning, Eric Greitens spoke about the robbery and the arrest, thanking law enforcement for their work. He also touched on the importance of making Missouri communities safer, saying he would start with the teens who were caught.
I plan to sit down with their mothers and their families to discuss what we can do together to make sure that every family and every community in the state of Missouri knows that they can go home at night and look at their kids and know that they'll be safe.
Greitens says he and his wife plan to forgive the teens involved. The Highway Patrol will now provide security for his wife. An MU fraternity has been suspended from the campus after repeated violations. 2 members of the Delta Upsilon fraternity told us members have been kicked out for 4 years. The fraternity says its suspension, which was decided last month, comes after several violations of university policy and state law. The fraternity's board of directors did not say which policies were broken. It says the suspension has nothing to do with an incident involving the university's Legion of Black Collegians or claims of date rape drug use.
Columbia residents will get the chance to grade their government. The city is mailing hundreds of surveys randomly through all 6 wards. They're looking for insight on topics ranging from the quality of roads and trails to potential taxes and the overall well-being of citizens. The city official leading the charge on the survey says the insights are crucial.
We'll be able to see over time if the work that we're doing in those areas is making a difference in how people perceive their ability to thrive in Columbia.
Even if you did not get one of the surveys in the mail, you can take it online. You can go to our website, KOMU.com, for the link.
Here's what's happening right now. A public meeting is being held at this hour to talk about improvements on Paris Road and College Avenue. The Boone County Government Center is hosting the meeting. The primary discussion is about complying with federal ADA access guidelines. MoDOT says this is an example of putting money back into the community.
One of our best assets in Missouri is our transportation system, and so what we are continuing to do with the funding that we're receiving from the public is we want to continue to take care of what we have, take care of our investment in transportation, and so that's what we're doing, taking care of our pavements.
MoDOT expects the Route B project to begin next summer. The College Avenue improvements begin in 2018.
If you've ever been on any of the trails around Columbia and didn't know where you were or wanted to explore new parts but were too afraid you'd get lost, new solutions are on the way. During last night's City Council meeting, a grant was approved to add 19 new informational signs along several of the trails in Columbia. These signs will inform trail users where they are and of the places it could potentially take them. The signs will also include trail rules and regulations.
Occasionally we do hear from both cyclists and pedestrians that people maybe aren't moving over as far right as is safe. And so that is a trail rule, that as you're walking along, you need to move to the right.
The city says it hopes to start placing the signs on the trail in fall 2017. The city will also reconstruct 2 bridges along the MKT trail starting in the fall of 2017.
The man who turned an empty warehouse into an artist colony spoke out for the first time today. The weekend warehouse fire in Oakland, California killed 36 people. Search crews don't believe any more bodies will be found. NBC's Jennifer Borkland reports.
Heartbreaking stories of loss coming out of memorials for the 36 confirmed dead here at the Ghost Ship, which is now a gutted hull. as flames chewed the warehouse. Late Friday, people trapped inside had time to text their goodbyes.
It happened so fast.
Carmen Brito says the fire broke out next to her room.
And I wish I could give a reason why I'm alive when so many other people aren't, and I can't. I don't know.
The warehouse leased to Derek Almeida 3 years ago was never meant to be living space, but that's what it turned into with artists and at-risk youth. He told NBC News the collective was meant to be a safe haven for them.
Did we make changes? I would like to say we made improvements.
We've done everything that we possibly could afford to do.
A musician who was playing there that night stepped outside for a cigarette and watched as the fire exploded in front of him, his friends trapped inside.
I just watched the exit and waited to see if my friends would come out, to see if anyone would come out, and nobody did.
The building was cited multiple times for blight, twice in the last month for clutter and graffiti. And while crews don't expect to find any more victims' remains now, they won't stop until they're sure.
We're going to continue the process until absolutely every piece of debris is removed from this building. Every area has been searched.
Looking for answers in the ashes as the missing are identified and families wait for news they don't want to hear.
The coroner still has to check the list of those missing with unidentified remains. Investigators in California are also working to determine the credibility of a threat against the Los Angeles Metro train system. Police say the anonymous threat came from overseas yesterday. The caller said something would happen at a metro station. Police increased security as investigators were determining the credibility of the phone call.
Today, China asked U.S. officials to not let Taiwan's president pass through the United States on her way to Central America next month. This comes days after President-elect Donald Trump disturbed China by speaking with her. There are reports that Taiwan's president may be trying to meet with Trump's transition team in New York to make a better connection before the inauguration. China considers Taiwan a province and repeatedly warned other countries against formal contact. House Speaker Paul Ryan said today it was prudent for Trump to speak with Taiwan's president. He told reporters he spoke to the president of Taiwan when she was transferring planes a couple months ago. Ryan thinks people have made too much of the phone call.
I think there's a lot of much ado about nothing about this. And I think for him to not take a congratulatory call would in and of itself be considered a snub. So I think everything's fine.
The speaker also talked about cutting corporate taxes and how it will be a top goal of the House in 2016. He also laid down one rule, that he will not react to Trump's daily tweets. Trump spoke to reporters in the lobby of New York's Trump Tower regarding his tweet that said cancel order this morning. The president-elect said the cost of building a new Air Force One was totally out of control and ridiculous. Trump says he wants Boeing to make a lot of money, but not as much as it would cost for the plane. Boeing was contracted by the Defense Department in January to start development work on replacing the 747s that transport the president. It was sunny but pretty cool out there today. Let's send it over to Tori to see what we should expect tonight.
Hey, thanks a lot, Brittany. It was a pretty breezy, pretty chilly one out there for us earlier today. Most of us actually saw top temperatures just around that 40-degree mark. And right now we're still into the upper 30s from the Lake of the Ozarks into Jefferson City and Lynn. It's 31 up in Macon, 34 for both Paris, Mexico and Fulton. Not feeling quite that warm out there. Still only feels like we're into the middle and upper 20s in most areas thanks to winds that have calmed down just a little bit, but they are going to be fairly breezy for at least the next couple of hours out of the northwest, anywhere from around 5 to 10 miles per hour. So going to be a pretty chilly one as you're stepping out the door later on this evening. We'll quickly see those temperatures falling back into the upper 20s and lower 30s throughout the evening. We do have some updates to that potential snowfall throughout your Wednesday afternoon. We'll track that hour by hour, and I'll let you know how much we're actually expecting coming up in a few minutes.
Tori, thank you very much. A device that's implanted in the brain changed one man's life. That's coming up in Your Health.
And you are taking a live look over the Columbia Regional Airport on this Tuesday afternoon. It is 5:08, and this is KOMU 8 News, first at 5, coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to KOMU 8 News. First at 5, starting off with a live look over the Jefferson City area. It was a fairly cloudy one out there for a lot of us earlier this afternoon, and a pretty chilly one as well. Temperatures today really struggled to reach those upper 30s and lower 40s for highs. That cooling trend we've been talking about all week long continues for at least 3 more days. We're only going to be making it into the middle and upper 30s for your Wednesday afternoon. High temperatures for Thursday and Friday are actually looking closer to our overnight low temperatures this evening. But as we head into the weekend, we do have a little bit of a relief. We should be at least back a little bit closer to our December average as we head into Saturday and Sunday. So it doesn't stick around for much longer. But in the meantime, here's a look at our satellite and radar. We did have that cold front that moved through the area earlier this afternoon. We're still hanging on to a lot of extra cloud cover for at least the southeastern half of the state behind that. Brought us some of those pretty breezy winds actually earlier this afternoon out of the north and northwest. So as we head into the rest of your evening, temperatures are quickly going to drop into those upper 20s and lower 30s. With that wind chill factor, though, it's still going to only feel like the middle and upper 20s for a lot of us out there this evening. So definitely bundle up as you're getting ready to head out and about tonight and early tomorrow morning. So here are some of those updates to that snow timeline as we head into Wednesday. We're just going to pick up on a lot of extra cloud cover overnight tonight and to start the day on Wednesday morning. The good news here is your early morning commute to work and school tomorrow looking very dry. It's going to be very chilly, just a lot of extra clouds, even well into the lunch hour. I think things are looking fairly dry. We might see a few light snow flurries a little bit after lunchtime tomorrow, but this system has slowed down quite a bit. We're looking closer to around 5 o'clock. This is going to be mainly for areas west of Highway 63 that we're going to start to pick up on a few of these very, very light snow flurries. Right now, the atmosphere just looks very, very dry. So we're really not going to pick up on a lot of this until we head into your later evening hours, and actually as soon as 10, 11 o'clock on Wednesday, it's going to finally be starting to work its way out of some of our south and southeastern counties in mid-Missouri. And really, all in all, we're really not looking at impressive snowfall totals with this at all. I think a good majority of the viewing area is going to be just about a dusting up to a half of an inch, but I think in some a few patchy areas off to our southwest, we could get a little bit closer to around 1 inch mark. So we're going to be tracking that for you throughout the entire day tomorrow. Stick around with us. Otherwise, just a few increasing clouds overnight tonight, and temperatures are going to be chilly again, right around 26 degrees to start the day on your Wednesday. For tomorrow afternoon, again, just a few light snow flurries here and there. Otherwise, temperatures will be back into the middle 30s, and we cool back down for the rest of the weekend once that Arctic high pressure sets in for Thursday and Friday. Overnight low temperatures back into the teens to start Friday morning and into Saturday morning as well. We're going to keep an eye on another system that moves through between Sunday and Monday. Looks like a little bit of a rain, maybe wintry snow mix as we head into Sunday evening, and maybe a few flurries waking up early on Monday morning. Otherwise, temperatures are back into the 40s through the weekend.
Your Thursday night expected low that has not budged.
Oh,
it's still,
no, I know.
Still at 12.
Dangerously close to single digits.
Yep. It'll be feeling like that, which...
Yeah. Tori, thank you very much. Too young to tan.
Coming up, possible tanning restrictions that could impact teens. first superbug has been discovered on a U.S. pig farm. Ohio State researchers are concerned the mutant gene could get into the human food supply. However, experts stress there's zero evidence this has happened at this point. The gene makes bacteria that is resistant to antibiotics and extremely rare. The unidentified farm has about 1,500 pigs, but the gene was not found in animals ready for slaughter. When it comes to healthy eating, we always have good intentions, but those habits can be ruined by impulse buys or cravings. One way to avoid filling your shopping cart with items you'll regret is simply by chewing gum. People who chew gum while shopping had fewer junk food cravings. Try to remember healthy foods first. Vegetables are most important, then meats, then sides. You can also try smaller plates for meals. Studies show your brain correlates the size of your dish with how much food you're supposed to eat. An Oregon man became one of the first in the country to receive a neurotransmitter that treats symptoms of Parkinson's. The 68-year-old veteran suffered from essential tremors for years. With this new device, he can control his tremor and function normally. The bilateral directional implant uses Bluetooth technology and an iPad to steer the electrodes to the most stimulated parts of the brain. The veteran says the device has changed his life. And data shows indoor tanning before the age of 35 significantly increases the risk of melanoma, which is the most deadly type of skin cancer. The FDA has proposed an age restriction banning children under 18 from using tanning beds. A study from the CDC estimates the policy could prevent 62,000 melanoma cases and over 6,000 deaths from the disease.
In today's talk, is lowering the speed limit on Providence Road a good idea or not? In today's talk, what do you think about speed limit changes on South Providence Road? We asked viewers if they thought it would make the road safer. We begin with Tommy. Tommy says Columbia doesn't have the police presence to enforce it anyway. Deanna says, I think the speed limit should be the same on all parts of Providence. Lower it to 45. And Justin says, I can never go 55 on Providence anyway. There is always a minivan going 40 to control the speed.
One man believes his community has what it takes to raise $10,000 for the Salvation Army, how he's taken the Red Kettle campaign to a new level. Coming up. The speed limit on a stretch of Providence Road will decrease starting tomorrow. KOMU 8's Chris Green is live to tell us how it will improve road safety.
The speed limit on Providence between McDeaver Memorial Drive and Route K is dropping from 55 to 50 miles per hour. The change comes following a study by MoDOT that looked at things like accident history, as well as the number of vehicles, pedestrians, and cyclists present. MoDOT Senior Traffic Studies Specialist says there has been a high number of crashes in the last 5 years, above the statewide average. The City Council amended the city code last night to reflect the decreases. The decrease becomes official after the new signs are installed tomorrow. Reporting live in Columbia, Chris Green, KOMU 8 News.
Here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News at 6. The Jefferson City Council is voting to expand the city boundary line tonight. We'll hear from residents about why the decision is so important to them.
And MU's fall enrollment was the lowest since 2010. Now the university plans to close 2 more residence halls. That's coming up on KOMU 8 News at 6 o'clock. A Michigan man is taking the Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign to a new level. Greg Bach is living inside the giant red kettle until the community raises $10,000. Bach says he's doing it to help the people who don't have a home to go to. So far, he has raised $4,000.
All right, we're just going to continue to see increasing cloud cover and very chilly temperatures throughout the rest of your Tuesday evening. We'll see overnight lows back into the middle and upper 20s, so kind of a cool, but it is going to be a dry start to our day tomorrow. Just a lot of extra cloud cover for your early morning commute tomorrow. We're really not expecting those rain and snow chances a little bit closer to 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Those are going to last until about 10, 11 o'clock. By that point, they should be starting to work their way out of the viewing area. Again, right now we're only expecting around a dusting to a half of an inch in most areas. I think some parts of southwestern Missouri might get closer to that 1 inch mark. Otherwise, it's going to be a dry, very, very cold end to the week. We're back into the middle and upper 20s for afternoon highs on Thursday and Friday. We should be a little bit more seasonally average, though, by the weekend.
Winter officially hasn't even begun.
I know.
Meteorological winter, though, has.
That's our time for now. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great night.